Yeah, this was a new day, and what happened last year, I didn't really want to go into the match thinking about it. Obviously I had lost the match and, made way too many unforced errors, and, on a day like today, I just wanted to make sure that I was consistent and did the right thing, and, maybe didn't go for the lines as much, and just played smart tennis.
Well, you're probably going to play the #1 seed on Monday. And is it a disadvantage to come off of the 6-0, 6-0 win going into that match and not be that tournament tested in your last match?
No, every match is different, and you don't worry about a match that's 2 rounds away when you're going into a particular match. Like today, you go out and you just try to win the match, and you worry about the next one when it's over, and whether it's a tough one or whether it's an easy one, and you still got to win it no matter what the score ends up being.
How would you describe the biggest differences between your style of play and Wozniacki's?
She can run all day and get a lot of balls back and make you hit tons of balls, and she changes the pace really well, and gets her opponents off balance, and she does many things well. That's why she's the top of the game.
In a match like that, where you feel any mercy for the person on the other side, and how do you deal with that when you see that you're just completely dominating this teenage girl who's first time on center court and all that?
To be honest, going into that type of situation, even before the match, not knowing who you're playing against, not knowing her game, knowing that the conditions are tough, it actually equalizes many things before the match, because none of you are able to really play your game. You have to be a little bit more careful than you usually are, and I don't think about the score. I just think about winning the next point.
Maria, she obviously was quite overwhelmed by your game and the conditions and everything. But despite all that, were you able to see potential in her, or could you comment at all on what she might, do well if she continues to work hard? A bit about her game.
It's obviously really unfortunate that she had to come out the first time on Ash and be in those types of conditions. And I've been in those types of conditions and actually lost a few matches in those types of conditions during the day, and some tough ones. And overall, it's obviously really tough to tell. But she tried to be consistent, and I think she actually did really well in her serve, and maybe not gone for big serves and try to get that in, and was really smart. But overall, I think I had a little bit too much firepower in the beginning, and that kind of really, maybe caught her off guard, and she was late for a few balls, and then towards the end of the match, I think she started, going for a little bit more, and, making a few more errors.
Maria, you're 12 out of what team since Wimbledon? Have you been on this type of hot streak before? And if so, what's the difference now than when you struggled? How do you see the court differently?
I think a lot of it is match play, and looking back at my started the trip in Europe. I started in Madrid, where I was coming off the elbow injury, and I wasn't playing much tennis, not even practicing much, and I kind of had to go there and play, and I knew I wasn't ready. So the step that I made from there to the last match at Wimbledon, where I had my chances, I knew that I was playing better. Physically I was feeling good, and I was feeling confident. I used the opportunity of the 2 weeks that I had off before Stanford to really work and work hard in a few things, and and had a lot of match. Not a lot, but I played 2 tournaments, and did quite well. Could have done better, but and here we are. I think the more matches you play, the better you feel, and the different types of opponents. And
Maria, what do you think you do better than Caroline Wozniacki?
I don't know. I think we have different types of game, and I haven't played her in a while, so I'm not sure. I really don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
Can it help you in any way that you have already won yourself?
She was the finalist here last year, so she's accustomed to the court and the atmosphere, and she obviously knows how to play good tennis on the court, and it'll be interesting.
Liz?
Maria, you're regarded as one of the toughest mentally out there on the court, if not the toughest. Do you believe that in yourself? And also, how has the surgery and injuries since then, how have they really affected your confidence and perhaps showing you a little bit of vulnerability that you didn't have before?
I mean, I do feel that, especially in certain situations that I feel, I don't know if the word tougher is the right word, but, it's something that's, won me many matches in my career. I mean, growing up, I was never the biggest or the strongest girl on tour. Even though I have big shots, there are many girls that were more powerful, that were quicker. But in certain situations, coming in the juniors, I was playing girls that were much older than I am, and you'd be in a position where it's 6-all in the third, or I'd have to battle it out. I found a way to stay calm and be tough inside of me, and it wasn't really about seeing an error from the other side and saying come on or pumping your fist. It was more the feeling that you have inside of just staying calm, and that's kind of the toughness that I felt. And like I said, it's certainly won me many matches. Yeah.
In your career, what moment are you most proud of in terms of mental toughness and coming through? Where do you think you have shown toughness the most, including coming back?
Obviously coming back was one of the toughest things for me off the court, because I had so many expectations of, and so many others had expectations of me being able to come back at a certain period of time, and I was never ready. I would go on the court, we'd set a date of when I can start hitting the ball and hitting a few serves, and I'd hit forehands and backhands. I was fine. I tried to hit a serve and I couldn't. I was still in a lot of pain, and that was even after the rehab and after surgery. So coming back from that and setting another timetable for yourself and doing it over and over again until I slowly found myself working myself up to hitting 10 to 15 serves to 20 serves, and being able to do that without pain and really being patient, and going back to Phoenix over and over again for months on end. And I think that took a lot, and because I think I could easily at this stage in my career just say, I've won Grand Slams, I've been there, done that, but I never felt like I had enough. I always felt like I could be a better tennis player. Even if at that point I couldn't go out and hit a serve, I physically just couldn't. But starting from when I was young, I think, winning Wimbledon at 17, the reason I'm, looking back and being proud of that is because I was so fearless, throughout the whole tournament. I was happy to be in the semifinals. I was down and out against Davenport. I was ready booking my plane ticket when the rain delay hit, and and then pulling that out and going into the final, against someone that has so much experience and was so much physically stronger than I was at that point, so much more experienced. Went out there and really just didn't really care about the situation, just played tennis, and so I guess that.
You said the type game was different in Bosnia. What do you see the key of the match against Bosnia?
I still have to play my game. I still have to be aggressive, and she's the type of opponent that's going to make you hit a lot of balls and going to make you hit that extra ball. And I think I have to be aggressively patient, and obviously the serve and return on a quick court is really important as well.
Maria, it wasn't that long ago, but do you think it's tougher even now for a 17-year-old to break in, to win a Grand Slam on the tour? Things got progressively tougher for everybody. Yeah.
I think you see a lot more depth. I really do. Than there was, years ago, and you definitely. I think there were a lot of complaints a few years ago that the first few rounds were quite easily won, 6-0, 6-1, and when we were talking about equal prize money and all of that, and now we're from the first round on, you're seeing 3 setters from the top seeds, you're seeing tough matches, and I think that just shows you how deep the field is.
Does it surprise you that there's only one American left in the tournament, in the bracket?
To be honest, I get asked this question at almost every single Grand Slam. You know, we're in Australia, you get asked about
So it
the
doesn't
Australians
surprise
here. No, I mean, it's, you know, you really got to worry about your own results, you know, to be honest. But to see, you know, younger players doing well and, you know, someone that's 18 years old getting to the third round and, you know, having an upset in the round before is, you know, is great to see, and hopefully that will only keep getting better. Improving.
Maria, you said that.
Over here, sorry.
Not knowing how much tennis you watch in your spare time, how much have you actually seen of Caroline and her game in recent months?
In recent months,
Or recent years?
I think I saw a little bit of the first round that she played here. I was getting treatment during that, and got to watch it. Huh?
Other tournaments?
Not really, to be honest. No.
Really?
Maria, you spoke the other day about having a funny feeling when somebody says they look up to you
Yeah.
because you're so young. How did that play out today in your interaction with Capra?
I mean, to be honest, when you're on the court, your goal is to win the match, and I wasn't thinking that I'm playing someone that's younger than me, that, you know, is the first time playing there. I mean, if you start thinking about all those things, I mean, the last thing you're going to do is win the match. So just stay focused on the game and everything else.
And after your conversation with her at the end of the match, what was that?
I mean, like I said, you know, the conditions are really tough, and it's, you know, like I said here, it's quite unfortunate that, you know, her first experience on, you know, on Ash had to be in those tough conditions. I mean, it's not easy for anyone.
Two
Who
last
do you
minutes.
think will win this tournament, yourself or somebody else?
It's a funny question. Going into a tournament, if you think that anyone else is going to win but you've got some serious problems.
Liz,
You
last
shouldn't enter
question.
it.
Can you just compare where you are now to 2006, both physically and mentally?
I mean, it's tough to compare. You know, you know, before that, I've obviously been in different stages of my career, winning, you know, the 3 Grand Slams. But I felt like going into that U.S. Open, you know, before I won Wimbledon, and I had gotten to a few semifinals of other Grand Slams, and for some reason before this one, I just, you know, I really felt physically and mentally ready to, you know, to push through, and you know, I was quite excited to beat Emily, you know, in the semis, and then obviously win against Justine. But you know, different stage in my life, obviously. I've been through, you know, one other Grand Slam, was out for a year. It's quite difficult to compare, you know.